hip-hop boy, roll this one to your head, cause this is the original Lofi dub.
What is a spike protein? I used to think that a spike protein was just an interesting thing found in one of the cells in the human body, a bit like a doorbell, or a radiation detector. But when I learned about how spikes trigger immune response and how our immune system works, I realized that it is so much more. What is a spike protein? A spike protein is one of many proteins, called immunoglobulins, that are produced by the immune system to fight infection. It is made from two parts: the heavy chain variable domain, which contains the variable region of the antibody molecule itself. This is where most of the antigen binding, the part that causes an immune response, occurs. 2. The light chain variable domain, which contains the variable region of several other proteins that are used to bind antigen and cause an immune response. Each antibody has two copies of this stuff, one to make the heavy chain, and one to make the light chain. Here's an illustration. This picture shows some spikes, you probably know them as immunoglobulins, in cells called monocytes, the white ones. These are needed for your immune system to do its job properly. You can see there are 3 spikes on each side, but they aren't arranged like this because some antibodies attach to them differently from others. Each spike has different functions. The heavy chain needs to attach itself to antigens so it can recognize them for its own purpose, like recognizing bacteria or viruses, for example. It recognizes antigens by having special receptors on certain parts of its own surface called Fc regions. They are also called CDRs, which contain bits of DNA called antibody constant regions. These constant regions determine what types of antigens will attach themselves correctly to your antibodies and activate their receptors so they can bind with their target antigen and get started attacking it. When your antibody attaches itself correctly, it forms a complex with an antigen. This causes your body's immune system, which makes antibodies, to respond with specific molecules that attack and destroy the foreign substance instead of just killing you if you touch it with something else, like bare hands at home or clothing at work or something else again at school, etc. Antibodies also help your body recognize self. They help identify what part is yours and attack what bit is theirs too. This can be useful in situations where you don't want someone else's body fluids or cells display the spike protein piece on their surface. Your cells exhibit a spike-like protein called the spike protein. No one is sure where the spike comes from, although there are some theories. Some say it's a remnant from the immune system in some primate species that has been lost over evolutionary time. Others say it's the product of a viral infection that was transmitted to us by humans when we migrated out of Africa and into Asia, Europe and America. The US Army classified this spike as an antigen, which means it would provoke specific immune responses in mice, rabbits or other animals that could be used to identify and treat human diseases. This spike protein was actually discovered in 1994 by Stephen Malsburg of Harvard Medical School, who worked on it with Robert Greenblatt at Tufts University and others. Our immune system recognizes that the protein does not belong there. I'm Professor Rax. The music you've been listening to is called Spiked Protein Shake, taken from the Everybody Hates COVID album, released on Cougar Record Cos. Everybody hates COVID, do you?